I'm Jessica Ann Bogart for Audio Story Time. Today's story is an odd mix of fan fiction and faux fiction, which is the opposite of fan fiction. The subject of this tug-of-war is Star Wars.
May the Force be clobbered!
Welcome to
Audio
Story.
Hi, I am Callum. This is a story that showcases an underlying battle of wills between those writing it. One is a hopeless Star Wars fangirl who idolizes Anakin Darth Vader and loves to treat Sidious Palpatine as her whipping boy. Never mind the fact that both characters are equally flawed and equally guilty of the oppression they dished out. The other person was never a Star Wars fan to begin with, and she cannot stand either of those two characters or Star Wars anymore because of the fangirl's crazy obsession. While the fangirl keeps forcing Anakin into the story, the other tries to throw him off. Part 1. Abduction. He fixated on a world that was galaxies away. There was someone there whom he wanted to meet, and it took a good deal of calculated planning, some tremendous luck, and use of the Force that had to be strong enough to work, but precise enough not to target the wrong person. He tried to make contact before without using the Force, and was blocked, but he never learned to accept no for an answer. One evening he scanned the galaxies until he had his destination in sight. Then he made use of the Force over long distance. He sent a teleportation item that would breach their security and bring anyone he wanted to him. In another world, the ocean elf was awakened by an alarm at Mission HQ. There was a strange presence on the property, possibly a security threat. Sighing, she got up, then looked at the time. It was only 3:36 in the morning. She shook her head irritably, but nevertheless hastily readied herself for the day, and without eating exited the main building to do some checks. She huddled inside her coat. The weather was bitterly cold, which always made it even more difficult for her to get going. She found nothing strange directly on the property, but as she was just about to turn back to retreat inside the building and get away from the cold, snowy conditions, she nearly lost her footing on a slippery patch of ice beneath some snow. She soon regained it, but to her astonishment, the landscape suddenly changed. Gone was the Mission HQ and its surroundings, to be replaced by a completely different setting. She was now in a galaxy far, far away. She had no idea how she got there, but she was pretty sure it was someone else's doing, and no accident. She had a keen sense of being watched, and probably by whoever was responsible for dragging her through some portal and into this strange land. Sure enough, the elf's suspicions proved correct. A man in black approached her, and she recognized him at once. The mask and helmet, the iconic loud respirator breathing sound. It was Darth Vader. To an ex-friend of hers, an obnoxious Star Wars fangirl who worshipped the franchise, and Vader in particular.
He was very ominous.
And he commanded a great deal of fear and respect, but not to Ocean. The fangirl had tried countless times to make Ocean change her mind and love Vader. And if this was another of her efforts, it was desperate beyond pathetic. Instead of intimidating Ocean, Vader's presence made her back go up. She had already suspected that he had to be the one responsible for the disturbance back at HQ and summoning her through a sneaky portal, though how and why that was managed, she hadn't yet figured out. The elf frowned and narrowed her eyes. Then she looked up to gaze intently at him. If he intended to amuse himself with her and then have her destroyed, she wasn't about to let that happen.
Anakin Skywalker. You may refer to me by my birth name if you wish.
He said, his voice a little bass tone through the mask.
The reason his voice sounded so weird would come out much later, and it was not just because of the suit. It could have been due to aging or something with the Force, but the voice was similar enough to be recognized as Vader's. The elf was definitely not pleased to see him. Vader's breathing and suit and mask were a hang-up the fangirl had, which drove Ocean and her friends around the bend. The fangirl often put descriptors that attempted to make the Star Wars characters seem sympathetic. because she wanted desperately for Ocean to see Vader as a kind-hearted victim, and the others as compassionate rather than Vader's simpering little lapdogs. It all started with this unfortunate situation Vader and his #1 fan caused. The elf grimaced and shook her head, but responded matter-of-factly.
You don't need to address me at all.
She took a step closer, looking irritated.
Why have you brought me here? And what do you want with me? You have some nerve. Breaching the security system on my property, disturbing my rest, and zapping me into this strange place.
But covert narcissists use a number of seemingly submissive tactics to get themselves out of trouble with the people they wish to control. A favorite is the fake apology. It is often followed by excuses or requests, without a real admission of wrongdoing.
I am most apologetic. I only want you to help me to return to the light.
The ocean elf looked incredulous.
Excuse me?
I am tired of being the Emperor's so-called errand boy, or his dark enforcer.
The elf's expression became frosty.
Too little, too late. The damage has already been done. As for Palpatine, he's dead. Good riddance. And good riddance to you as well when I get back home.
Vader was so self-absorbed that he ignored this. He was far too wrapped up in his own angst to even register how angry she was. Or he likely thought she was bluffing and incapable of taking him on. He only continued boasting about what he did to Palpatine in the past.
I threw him down once before, but he cheated death by using the Force. Then he cheated death again when Rey electrocuted him.
I see.
The elf became suddenly livid with rage, more angry than he could imagine her to be. Outside the window of the room they were standing in, the sky turned dark with ominous clouds, lightning flashed, and there was a tremendous thunderclap. Vader lowered his head and turned away to make himself appear less threatening. He was never going to get her cooperation if he kept making her angry.
I could use your help, but be careful of the malign energy that shoots from his fingertips.
So, this is why you brought me here. You found out about our earthly mission HQ and you thought you'd give us a try. You better not have singled me out for this.
Vader nodded, but chose not to address the elf's last remark.
By the way, you may refer to me by my birth name. It is Anakin.
The elf scowled.
I take that as a yes, and I am not calling you at all.
By this time, large raindrops and small hailstones pelted the roof, and wind was howling. Vader continued.
Oh, if I were to talk to you without my mask, my voice would be a little more than a whisper, and it would be very difficult and painful for me to speak. The respirator helps me to breathe, because my lungs are so damaged.
Come on, you're used to that. You carry on plotting and torturing and murdering people en masse. And you gloat about that to other people that you want to coerce and control. So don't sympathy ploy me.
Vader only kept trying to make her believe he had changed and just wanted her help.
And I'd like to thank you in advance for...
Don't thank me, do you hear?
Can't you even take a compliment?
I don't want anything from you.
Vader stood still for a moment, considering what to say next. This was not going as he had planned. The next tactic he tried was the protective, caring persona. If he couldn't get Ocean to care for him through sympathy, maybe she would respond better if she believed he cared about her.
If you should see Sidious, you must be careful. The Emperor is really a Sith Lord. Darth Sidious.
No, duh! Now, if you will excuse me...
Insulted, she turned to walk away. The insufferable Dark Lord continued.
Please do be careful. If I have to, I will use the Force and lift him over my head. I shall throw him over the balcony railing.
You already did that, remember? Apparently it didn't exactly work.
He nearly killed my son Luke Skywalker. I shall vow to seek my vengeance. I know it's wrong, but if I want to return to the light, I have to do this myself.
Whatever. If you're gonna do this yourself, you don't need my help.
She began walking swiftly away from him.
It's no use, Elf. This is a no-teleport zone.
Oh, really? So how did you manage to bring me here then?
The Force!
Might have known. That's your answer for everything, isn't it?
She rolled her eyes. He continued.
As soon as I transported you, I used the Force. You couldn't leave if you wanted to.
Well, I want to. I never asked to be brought here, especially by the likes of you!
The elf had one hand in a pocket, glad her device for transport was there. But she found it didn't work when she tried to return home. She kept her back turned, not wanting to show the panic and loss of control in her expression. She was not about to give him that satisfaction. So, for now, she did not try very hard to escape. It wasn't worth the struggle while he was there watching her. She planned to work her way out of this later when he was not observing her. Turning back toward Vader, the elf glared, putting both clenched fists up.
You just kidnapped me for nothing, and it'll cost you. Call off your grounding force field, or I will end you right here and now!
Still stupidly oblivious to or willfully ignorant of just how angry she was, Vader only tried appealing to her sympathy again.
I can't. The effort to bring you here and set up the no-escape zone in here is exhausting.
Then you shouldn't have wasted your energy.
Without warning, she doused him with a wave.
Wah! Ouch!
Vader sputtered and cried out in surprise when it knocked him off his feet. In a second, the wave had vanished, but it left him drenched. In a mix of shock and sudden fright, he righted himself, then stared down at the elf.
That was only a small sample of what you're up against. It is in your best interest to let me return home and then forget I even exist.
Now, Anakin Darth Vader was finally starting to regret bringing the ocean elf here by force. He was in trouble with her no matter what. If he gloated and told her she was not free to leave, she would probably wave him right out of existence. But telling her of his exhaustion was also giving away his weakness. That was something he never did with anyone else he had captured before. Telling her of it would be putting himself at even more risk. But what else could he do? The only thing left was to try to play on her compassion if she had any for him at all. He knew she was capable of compassion because she made it clear how she felt about commission of deliberately cruel acts. He just hoped she didn't know the extent of everything he had done, and would be willing to overlook it if she could be convinced how much he suffered.
I am so tired of the pain I suffer in this wretched thing for the past 30-something years.
The elf put a finger to her lips. Vader only continued, showing her the armor he wore.
It is heavy, cumbersome, and I can't move.
He said his bass voice near shout resonated around the room.
Enough! This was your idea. Don't blame me if you're tired out. There are people back where I come from who have it a lot worse off than you do, and your technology is supposedly far more advanced than ours. If you were really so bad off, you'd be lying in a hospital bed somewhere, unable to do what you've done to damage and snuff out life left, right, and center. So next time you want to balk about your stupid freaking god-awful suit, shut up!
Never before had Vader gotten such a cold, hard reaction from newcomers, whether they had been brought here against their will or not. But he still refused to face the fact he had lost the battle of wills with this elf long ago. So he got one more idea. Maybe the physical touch might break through the ice and show her a reason to be sympathetic. So Vader reached out and took the elf's small hand in his cybernetic one.
By the way,
Bad move. Incredibly stupid bad move. The ocean elf recoiled, yanking her hand away in a mix of indignation and revulsion.
Oh, how dare you touch me!
He froze for a moment and looked into her face. There was not a trace of what he was so used to seeing in the faces of other newcomers. Fear, admiration, pity, or a combination of them all, and mostly awe. The elf showed none of these, only a confrontational stare. He stepped away again and looked to the side.
My apologies.
Oh, shut up and just send me back!
If you will just hold on a little longer. I will bring you to meet a very good friend of mine. His name is Ben, but he hasn't gone by the name of Obi-Wan since. Oh, before Luke was born.
Wait, what? You're now friends?
Yes, we our friends. I used to be his student before that wicked old screw of an emperor influenced me. He is the one that lured me to the dark side.
Vader was supposed to say, "We are friends," but the fangirl wrote the wrong word, H-O-U-R instead of A-R-E. In any case, the ocean elf was all out of patience with Vader's whining, and she would not buy any excuses.
You let him. That was still your choice.
Vader tried the deepism tactic next, putting on an air of saying something profound. His number one fangirl ate it right up without question. And if Star Wars said it was so, surely Ocean would knuckle under to this supposed superior idea and would have to admit Vader was actually good.
It was prophesied, but I would bring balance to the Force.
Oh, stuff it. You don't bring balance to anything by massacring people.
If you are unfamiliar with the Force...
Newsflash, about 99.999999% of Earth's first world population already knows about Star Wars, so we know all about your precious ham-goddamn freaking stupid Force.
Ocean Elf, a devout Christian, was not blaspheming when she said this. The ham god was a fictional deity character created and used by some exceedingly childish, bloodthirsty trolls. They were anime fangirls who bullied another off the internet. Ocean detested those trolls and their hammy deity, and she would never let them live it down. She was also pointing out that Vader was no better than they were, and the Force was just as fake as their ham god. A smart man would have given up and just sent the elf back to her planet, called it a day, then moved on. Not Anakin Darth Vader. He was like his number one fangirl, and he wanted power over other people in the same way she did. So he just kept pressing on.
But you may ask Obi-Wan. You will meet someone else who is almost 900 years old. His name is Yoda.
Why wasn't it one of them who tried to contact Mission HQ instead of you?
Vader's ego took another hit. He had no answer for this, so only kept trying to steer the discussion in a way to make the elf forget her anger and switch to a good and compliant mood.
He uses the lightsaber just like I do.
Oh, whatever.
And you will learn how to use one as well.
No, I will not. I did not ask to come here, and you do not get to dictate what I do or don't do while I'm here or when I go back. I am not interested in battles, and I couldn't care less about your situation. Get that through your big fat head.
Anakin Vader was jamming himself into a tighter and tighter spot by the second. Normally, he would have force-choked anyone who talked to him like that. But though he tried to use the Force on the elf, it didn't seem to have any effect. He could not get into her mind and make her feel anything. No sensations of physical pain, no terror or sadness, no admiration for him. He knew if he made a show of power now, he would likely end up in over his head, literally. That notion was confirmed when the elf added,
And remember what I said. If I can't get out of here next time I try, you will regret it.
But as usual, Vader ignored this and tried to change the subject to something most people couldn't resist talking about. Themselves.
I can sense something of a force field around you.
At the elf's sudden suspicious scowl, he asked,
Have you done any sword fighting, dear?
That was rather stupid, since Ocean had just said she had no interest in battles. She was also not interested in chit-chatting with Vader.
As if that's any of your concern. And don't call me dear.
Anakin Vader just kept on doing what his number one fangirl did, ignore everything he didn't want to hear and try to dominate the conversation. By ignoring what Ocean Elf said, he hoped she would eventually engage him in what he wanted to talk about. He was counting on it. His extreme fangirl always used these tactics on people, and they worked on many of them. Like her, Vader also seemed to forget what he had said before, and tended to repeat himself and talk in circles.
Well, I shall bring you to meet two friends of mine.
You already said that.
Vader continued babbling on, still trying to intimidate or impress the elf.
We shall momentarily be entering a very cavernous chamber underground. Are you afraid of the dark?
P.S. Very rare but kind smile showing through his mask.
What do you think I am? A kindergartner?
The fangirl was so sure that if she described Vader's smile shining through his mask as kind, that Ocean would never question how that particular smile was somehow so awesome that it could shine right through his substantial mask, and that she would take everything he said as kind rather than tone-deaf, condescending and unthinking at best. As usual, Vader and his worshipper put on a show of completely ignoring Ocean's annoyance and went for the pity party angle again.
Do not mind the sound of my respirator. I hope to get this wretched thing fixed soon. I am so tired of the pain I suffer.
Oh, for crying out loud! We've been over and over this. God, but you love feeling sorry for yourself. Just stop! Stop! Stop!
I am most apologetic for bringing this up again.
Anakin said, almost crying.
That's how badly his #1 fan wants people feeling pity and eventually love for Anakin Vader. She had him acting way out of character during and outside of this story. Other people humored her and went along with it, but not Ocean.
All of a sudden you are just falling apart over this, and you never have before. We do have footage of various things from your world that made its way to ours. You know what that means.
I wish I could just force choke the Emperor and defeat him that way. Of course, then he would suffer. He is almost 90 years old after all.
The elf scowled. Anakin continued.
Anyway, here we are.
No kidding.
The cringe continues in part 2. The first attempt that resulted in a gong show of a meeting muck-up. The second attempt saw the meeting through. But that's all that can be said about it. Please stay tuned.